Good morning, everyone. Slide 1, please. Honored Professor Reichmann, Boaz Ganor, Jonathan Davis, esteemed colleagues, dear guests. There are moments in history that make us all pause and remind us of what really matters. October 7, 2023 is one such day. On that day, Israel was the target of a brutal and unprecedented attack that shocked not only the country, but the entire world. I would like to express my sincere and heartfelt condolences for the losses, the injuries, the violation, and the harm in this war. And I want to convey my sincere and heartfelt condolences, especially to the family of the Reichmann University. And dear Professor Reichmann, dear Boaz, dear Jonathan, I'm full of respect for everything you and your university have done. We should all follow the example set by you and your team. I have seen with my own eyes what is being achieved here by the people of the university. Their tireless efforts and unwavering support. My greatest respect and appreciation also goes to our Israeli partner units, especially the Yamam, the National Counter-Terrorist Unit of Israel. They have an admirable mentality and an extraordinary spirit. They fight heroically and have saved many lives. Sadly, some of my Israeli comrades who rescued others in battle have since fallen, but they are not forgotten. They are in our hearts and with us in spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, with the exception of September 11, 2001, the attack on October 7, 2023 is considered the most significant act of terrorism in the Western world. We saw how swiftly the international community, including Germany, responded to the attack. Since then, our cooperation with Israel has become even closer than in previous decades in order to improve stability for Israel and the entire region. Why? Because we shared in solidarity with our partners in the Israel Special Forces and security authorities, especially in times of crisis. And because we know that the security situation in the Middle East has also an impact and consequences for the security situation in Europe, especially in Germany. This fact cannot be underestimated. We realize that this crisis has immense humanitarian consequences for our comrades and friends in Yamam and in ISA. We, the Special Operations Command 11 of the Federal Police, Germany, the GSG-9, our helicopter pilots, the IT forensics experts, the bomb disposal experts, the sky marshals, and the close protection forces in crisis areas are very aware of the tragedy of losses in our own ranks. And yet, given the sheer number of victims, we can only begin to empathize with the pain, grief, anger, and sometimes self-doubt that can permeate not only the individual, but also an entire unit, families, and an entire nation. That's why it was immediately clear to me that we must help our comrades on the ground in Israel, wherever it is needed. I was in Israel on October 7, 2023. I was here because I had been invited to an ISA security conference. On that morning, I was woken up by the sound of sirens from a nightmare until I realized that it was not a bad dream, but bitter reality and an act of unfathomable cruelty. The conference was cancelled as a result, and it was immediately clear to me that I'm not returning to Germany. I'm staying here, and I will get support from Germany, and we will help where we can. What have we been doing since October 7 last year in this crisis situation? First, measures to release German hostages. Second, upgrading security measures at German embassies in the crisis region. Third, support with personnel for our Israeli partner units. Fourth, material support with equipment in Israel. Fifth, moral support in Israel, as well as 6, compensation and support measures for our Israeli partner units in Germany. Slide 2, please. After consulting with our Israeli comrades, we immediately organized suitable compensation and support measures in Germany for the teams of our partner units from here. Believe me, this was an emotionally challenging experience for us and our Israeli friends. An experience that will bring us even closer together and will never leave us. You can rest assured that we will continue to do everything in our power to support our comrades here in Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, while the conflict here continues to escalate on the ground, the October 7 attack has also tightened the security situation at home for us in Germany, and thus for our special forces, but also for our citizens abroad. The security situation in Germany has not been this threatening for a long time. This is not only due to a dramatic rise in the number of anti-Semitic crimes recorded since October 7, which appear to be perpetrated by all branches of extremism with varying degrees of severity. There are also a considerable number of unreported cases of this crime category which have not even been taken into account. There is a real increase of anti-Israel and anti-Semitic actions. This is especially true of physical assault, analog and digital threats, violent demonstrations, special marks on Jewish institutions and houses, and even an attempted arson attack on a synagogue in Berlin. So it doesn't surprise me that Berlin alone has been literally flooded with an anti-Semitic activity since October 2023. Why is this so important? Because everyone should realize that the Middle East conflict affects us all. It has now arrived on the streets of Germany, and opinions are becoming increasingly hardened, with the potential for escalation that is not necessarily foreseeable. I am particularly concerned by the fact that these actors are using our liberal right of assembly as a welcome vehicle to ridicule our way of life, right before our very eyes. In doing so, they are revealing themselves to be enemies of our Western values. In my opinion, this development will continue. We have to face the reality that professionally produced videos on social media and other encrypted messaging services are sufficient to attract young people who are becoming increasingly younger to carry out terrorist attacks. Weapons such as knives and the like are easy to obtain, which enable attacks to be carried out primarily against soft targets. The short planning phase and low organizational effort are a particular challenge for preventing such acts. The perpetrators hardly rely on communication networks anymore, and not only mosques are probably necessary for radicalization in Germany because due to the current Middle East conflict, non-Muslims are also very receptive to attacks against Jews and Israeli institutions. Some institutes in the academic world are known to serve as radical breeding grounds. Students can freely express their hatred of Israel there. Nevertheless, the main terrorist threat in Germany currently comes above all from jihadist-motivated individuals acting alone. We must recognize that the October 7 attack has the potential to lead to a major escalation in Germany, primarily from Islamist terrorists. The number of attempted attacks and attacks carried out in Western Europe in the last 10 months are significant and speak for themselves. This is also shown by the recent attacks in Solingen and in Munich in front of the Israeli Consulate General on the 52nd anniversary of the attack on the Israeli team at the 1972 Munich Olympic Games. What might be the right thing to do now? With regard to the homeland development, several changes are realized in Germany. On the political level, for instance, adoption of laws and change of migration policy. On the strategic level, for instance, enhanced centralization of overviews of the situation and broadening of national and international cooperation. On the tactical operational level, for instance, intensification of border controls, investigation and arrests, increase of deportation of foreign criminals to their home countries, raise of close down of radical mosques and radical centers of education. With regard to developments abroad, Germany, like other European countries, has called on German citizens who are in hotspots in the Middle East to leave the region. At the same time, we have been preparing for evacuation operations together with the German armed forces for several weeks. We are able to act at the push of a button to protect our interests, the evacuation of German citizens from the crisis region. The tense situation in the Middle East shows once again how important it is for Germany to have a well-positioned civil military response unit and the best possible picture of the situation. Ladies and gentlemen, in the coming years, we aim to deepen even more the operational and strategic cooperation of the German Special Forces from the Federal Police with the Special Forces from Israel. With our shared values, our strong bond, and our deep historical awareness, we will continue to take further steps to improve our coordinated approach, our sharing of operational tactics, and mutual support with our Israeli friends. I'm sure that the sharing of technologies in particular is something that will gain momentum. We are proud that our Israeli partners are willing to share with us their extensive experience in the fight against terrorism, providing us with important insights and technologies that are most valuable to us. Experience shows that together we are better equipped to respond to threats, be they conventional or unconventional. We are only strong together. Slide 3, please. Conclusions. We are prepared to undertake measures to reduce the willingness of militant organizations and other states to attack in order to maintain the quality of our liberal society. We therefore have a role to play in effectively minimizing terrorism and state-led acts of terror. We must therefore always be prepared for this with up-to-date information and measures, and be flexible enough to respond appropriately when called upon. This means especially thinking the unthinkable, raising the situational awareness, adapting laws and state-led actions to the threat situation, restructuring and redesigning the processes and organizations of the security architecture, enhancing national and international cooperation, strengthening resiliency in any matter, improving state-led social media actions. In total, we could conclude, in some parts, disruptive management is required. Ladies and gentlemen, what we are currently witnessing are, on the one hand, oppressive, multi-complex crisis situations. But on the other hand, crises are also opportunities. They bring with them processes of change that we can influence. That is why I consider it essential to have a leadership mindset that sees change as an opportunity when dealing with crises. The extent to which these crises influence our future is largely in our hands. Thank you very much for your attention.